In this video, we're going to show how to get started configuring IDERA Studio Team Server once you have the software installed. The very first step is to go to IDERA.com. Under Resources, you'll see Product Documentation. Click on that. On that page, you'll find IDERA Studio Team Server and the View button. Clicking that button will bring you to the IDERA Studio Team Server documentation. On that page, you'll be able to find, as I'm showing here, the Team Server and Repository Installation and Upgrade Guide. Click on PDF and that should open it for you. Once you open that PDF, you'll want to make sure that you read through each of the pages. It starts off with some minimum requirements for the virtual machine or server that you'll be running Team Server on, and some of the database server requirements for hosting your Team Server repository. As you read through this document, be sure to make notes specific for your particular installation. Once you've read through the document, your next step will be to run the IDERA Studio Team Server configurator. You can find instructions to do that on page 12 of this PDF document. On your desktop, you should find an icon that says Configure Team Server. Go ahead and click that and it should bring up your Team Server configurator. Using that instruction guide that I previously showed you, you'll want to go through each of the pages within the configurator and answer the specific questions. You can see here I've already done some selections on my particular installation. To get through these screens, you'll want to fill out the information and hit the Next button. We are now on step 2. Fill in your repository database setup information. You can see here you have 3 choices on which to host the repository. It can be on Microsoft SQL Server, Microsoft Azure SQL DB, or Oracle. As you see here, Team Server will require a database username and password for its runtime access. Here you see I'm using for SQL Server the SA account just for my demonstration environment. Once you've entered in your username and password, hit the test button. You should get a connection successful. You say OK, and then you're able to hit the update button. In this case, it's telling me there's no change. I'll say OK and hit Next. This brings us to the Team Server Administrator account configuration page. Typically, that username is always admin with a capital A, and the password by default is admin with a capital A. You can change this to whatever your site may prefer. In this case, I'll leave it, hit the test button, see that the verification is successful, and hit OK. I'll go ahead and hit the update button. Again, there was no change in my configuration, so I'll say OK and hit Next. Team Server requires a Windows Service account in order to display the images that are eventually displayed on the Team Server portal. You'll want to create a Windows Service account on the machine or a domain Windows Service account and enter that information here, enter the password in, and hit Test. Once the verification is successful, you can say OK, update, say OK, and hit Next. Steps 6, 7, and 8 for setting up your HTTPS credentials, your single sign-on via LDAP, and email notifications. These features can be skipped initially and reconfigured at a later time, so I'm just going to hit Next for the next 3 steps. That brings us to the configuration execution page. The configuration execution will start once you hit the Start button. You'll see status dialogs displayed here in this window, and at the end you can hit the Finish button to finish the process. At this point, you'll be able to log into the Team Server web portal. Here I'm using the admin credentials, and you can see I am now in Team Server and it has displayed the home page. I hope you found this video helpful to help get your Team Server installation configured. Thank you.